Hello, everybody, and welcome to our Week 7 quarterback prospect rankings for the 2026 NFL Draft. Ladies and gentlemen, it is so sad that we are at this point in the season. Not because it's like it's a mixed bag. It's really a mixed bag because it's been fun looking at every single one of these quarterbacks, and college football has been so much fun to watch this year. There's been so much like uncertainty. I guess you could say that really about every level of football up to this point in the year, whether it be the NFL or college, but with it being Week 7, that just tells us that we are at the halfway point of the season. Like it feels like yesterday where we watched Alabama get embarrassed by Florida State Week 1. Like it doesn't feel that long ago since we watched that game. It wasn't that long ago when we watched Texas versus Ohio State when Arch Manning was widely considered to be the number 1 overall pick in the draft and then lose to Ohio State. It doesn't feel that long ago we saw Garrett Nussmeier play very, very well against Clemson on the road Week 1 when we all thought Clemson was a team that could compete for a national championship. Like where we stand right now, if you'd have told me we would have sat here right now and been talking about this stuff, what the list is going to look like today and what the state of college football looks like, I would have called you crazy because I think at that point, Week 1, everybody thought Clemson was better than what they were. They stink. They got blown out by Syracuse. They got beat by Georgia Tech. We would have thought Florida State was for real, and now they've dropped 3 straight games. Yes, they lost to Miami, but Virginia and Pitt, with one of those games being at home, is not necessarily the most ideal situation in the world either. And Garrett Nussmeier has not been playing that great in the past couple of weeks, so now we're looking at a completely different top 10 than what we looked at Week 1 or Week 2. Like, it's just craziness. It's absolute craziness. It's sad that we're at Week 7 because we're at the halfway point, and that means we're halfway done. But it gets more and more exciting as the year goes on because we're getting more and more definite answers on who we think will win the Heisman Trophy, who the betting odds are. It's just a fun time. It's a fun time. But without further ado, let's just get right into it. Obviously, starting off the honorable mention section first with number 1, Luke Altmaier. I say number 1. It's not in any order. I mean, it is in an order. It's in alphabetical order by last name, so I guess there is an order here, but it's not like, oh, this guy's the first other person. This is like the second honorable mention section, third and fourth. It's not that. It's just in alphabetical order. But number 1 is Luke Altmaier, 30 for 44, 248, 1 touchdown, first interception of the season against number 1 Ohio State at home, 34-16 loss, 13 touchdowns, 1,800 yards passing up to this point in the season. Illinois has now lost 2 games on the year. Their 2 losses have come to the number 1 and number 3 teams in the nation. They're completely out of the top 25. Now, granted, they did get beat by 53 points against said number 3 team in the nation, but we'll talk about that guy here in a little bit. We got Trinidad Chambliss from Ole Miss, 253, 2 touchdowns, no picks, also had a rushing touchdown, and an insanely weird and unexpected 24-21 win against Washington State last week. Washington State, they're 3-3 on the year. They're 3-3. They had lost 2 of their last 3 games going into that, and one of those games was a 59-10 loss against North Texas. And that was on the road too. That was on the road. And yet, that being said, they still managed to score 21 points and only lose by 3 to the presumed 4th overall team in the nation. They lost 59-24 to Washington, who is still not in the top 25, even though they only have 1 loss to their name, which of course came against the number 1 ranked team in the nation in Ohio State. Ole Miss did drop down a spot, but that game against, they scored the same amount of points against Washington State as they did LSU. And LSU has got one of the best defenses in college football, with Harold Landry being one of the best defenders in all of college football, and yet they still only put up 24 points in that game. Just a weird one. And it's a weird one, but the Trinidad story has just been really fun to watch this year. So I'm just going to we're just going to keep chugging along with it. The Ferris State transfer, now is the starter at Ole Miss after Justin Simmons got hurt to start the season. Like, it's been a fun, or Austin Simmons, not Justin Simmons, got hurt at the start of the season. Now he's just taking it and run with it. Now he's one of the top 10 guys for the Heisman Trophy. If you look at betting odds and stuff like that, just craziness. But next one here is Josh Hoover from TCU. Was number 10 last week, but 376 yards passing. Good numbers there, but 3 touchdowns, 2 picks to his name in a 41-28 loss against Kansas State. Kansas State's been playing better as of late, so I guess I shouldn't sit here and be surprised that they beat TCU this past weekend, even though I do think TCU overall, like going into this game, I did think TCU was the better team, but Kansas State Again, they're just playing really good football right now. And they've come up short. They came up short against Baylor, lost to them by 1 point. They lost by 6 to Arizona. They lost by 3-3 against Iowa State and Army. Now, the Army game and the North Dakota game, which of course they won, definitely put some sour taste in people's mouths, but they're getting better. They are getting better. But yeah, two interceptions in the loss against Kansas State will probably drop you out of the top 10. Then we got Nico Iamaleava from UCLA. Back-to-back really good performances from him and UCLA in general as they won 38-13 against Michigan State on the road. 2 straight wins. After starting off the season 0-4, they have 2 straight wins against Penn State and Michigan State. And I think when they lost to New Mexico, you could have realistically looked at their schedule and go, where the hell are they getting their next win, especially after they lost to Northwestern. Because if you're looking at the Big Ten play, you'd go like, okay, if you're going to get a win, you're going to beat Northwestern. And they didn't even do that. So it's like, oh, shit, where are they going to get one? And then they beat Penn State. They obviously beat Michigan State this past week. Iamaleava, 180 yards, 3 passing touchdowns, had way less rushing yards in this game against Michigan State than he did against Penn State. He had like 100-something yards against Penn State. He had 3 in this game against Michigan State. But he's playing good. He's playing good football right now. I did almost put him back in the top 10, but right now he sits on the outside looking in. And the last one here, Cade Klubnik from Clemson. I did see something that he is a questionable start this upcoming weekend. I think they play SMU, so we'll have to wait and see on that one. Sam Levitt did not play this weekend as Arizona State got belt to ass, I guess you could call it, in this week. Jeff Sims, who I completely forgot was still playing college football, started the game for Arizona State. They lost by 30-something points. But Cade Klubnik this past weekend, 22 for 30, 280, 1 touchdown, 1 pick, 48 yards on the ground and a touchdown against Boston College on the road. 41-10 was the final score there. Clemson trying to work their way back into the top 25. Remember, they lost again. We brought it up at the beginning of the show, or beginning of this episode. 3 losses up to this point of the season, and a couple of them haven't been great. That Syracuse one was not great. Georgia Tech, I can kind of understand. Like, after they lost to LSU week 1, and after they were down 16-3 against Troy, I know they won that game, but after I seen those 2 performances, losing to Georgia Tech, who I picked to be in the ACC championship game this year, did not really surprise me all too much. Like, you look at Miami last year. Miami went down to Atlanta, or up to Atlanta, I guess you could say, and they got beat by the Yellow Jackets. Georgia Tech played a decent amount of top 10 teams last year and played them really well. So it shouldn't be surprised if Georgia Tech is beating teams like that, especially with it being at home. But back-to-back wins for Clemson. I know they're against Boston College and North Carolina, 2 not great defenses in ACC play, but this week they got SMU, then they got Duke after that, which that won't be really fun. And then Florida State, who got as high as 7th in the rankings, as we talked about before, and now we're looking at the outside looking in of the top 25. But those are your honorable mentions for this week. And at number 10, I have Talon Green back in the top 10. He was out the past couple weeks because obviously got blown out against Notre Dame and then dropped out completely after that, which the Notre Dame game was just not ideal. That game all around was just a shit show. And it was 3 straight losses for Arkansas, 2 close losses to Ole Miss and Memphis, but the game against Notre Dame at home, to get beat like that, to have Notre Dame pretty much just do whatever they wanted, to the point of, like, they're running fake punts in the third quarter up by 30 points. Like, they just did not care. Notre Dame was just millie-rocking all over their grave. It was absolutely ridiculous to see what Arkansas was doing in that game, and that's what's got Sam Pittman fired. Obviously, he was on the hot seat prior to that game. It's hard to be an SEC team and lose to a team like Memphis. And I know when I say a team like Memphis, I know Memphis is a good football team, but in the grand scheme of things, if you would have said an SEC team would lose to Memphis, I think you would probably sneer your nose at it, go like, oh, that's pretty bad. That's pretty bad. But Talon Green in the game against Notre Dame did not have his greatest game of all time. Threw a couple picks in the game, if I remember correctly. And yeah, they just got blown out. But this week against Tennessee on the road, Bobby Petrino's back as the interim head coach. Obviously was the head coach for Arkansas famously a while ago. And then, yeah, after he left the Atlanta Falcons, obviously was the head coach at Louisville for a little bit. I think he was at, was it Missouri State where he was at randomly? I can't remember exactly. But Talon Green in this game, 21 for 31, 256, 2 touchdowns, no picks. He did have 2 fumbles in this game, very similar plays on the 2 fumbles, but he had 63 yards on the ground and a touchdown there as well. Had a pretty much a walk-in touchdown for his opening touchdown. Like, literally, it was a read option, pulled it, and could have just walked in. It was an 11-yard rushing touchdown, could have just walked in. But the 2 fumbles, they're, again, literally the exact same thing. He's rolling out to his left. He's trying to get the ball in his right hand, and the ball gets tapped, and he loses it. But in the second one, I guess I should say, he did complete the transition from his left hand to his right hand to get the ball up. But again, still caused a fumble there. The first one, though, defense came up big. Forced Tennessee to go 3 and out. Tennessee recovered the ball at the Arkansas 49-yard line, forced him to a 3 and out. Second one, though, wouldn't be as lucky. He would fumble the ball at the 15-yard line. Tennessee would score later. Tennessee would find themselves up 34-17 in the fourth quarter, and Talon Green made some good throws early on in the game, but what I was most impressed about from him in this game, and we obviously know how good of an athlete he is, like the running game, like he had a 28-yard run in there, I think he had a 22-yard run in there as well. Like, he's a very good athlete. If we're talking about like the best dual threat quarterbacks in college football, he might be that. I believe, I guess I don't know exactly if he still does, but there was a point in time where he led the nation in total yards. Like, there was a point in time. I don't know if that still stands, so don't quote me on that, but I think there's a very good argument to be made that he is overall the best dual threat. I know there's going to be like Blake Horvath at Navy. You could even bring up like Lenora Sellers, even though statistically aren't the same category in regards to rushing yards and stuff like that, but you could put those guys up there as well. But what I was impressed with Talon Green in this game is that he got better in the fourth quarter, down 34-17, 2 fumbles. The last touchdown Tennessee scored was directly a result of your fumble, and he's able to bring them all the way back down the field to get them in scoring range, and he gets a nice little 9-yard touchdown pass to Rohan Jones, and it was a little dink. The linebacker crashed, pulled it from the back, dumped it over top to the tight end who scored, but it was a very accurate throw and a very smart throw if you analyze it a little bit more, because the linebacker crashed, yes, but his arm goes up with the throw, so you have to get over that linebacker, but if he leads Rohan Jones where his route's taking him, the ball has a chance to get intercepted or just broken up in general. But he puts it on his back shoulder and makes him turn towards the ball, eliminating the defender from the play. Like, it was a very good throw. It was only a 9-yard pass, and it looks like a little dump throw, but it was a very good throw from Talon Green. And then later in the game, 4:50 in the fourth quarter, 30-yard pass to Raylan Sharp. Down the hash marks, clean pocket, steps up into the throw, delivers a really, really strong throw in stride. Right, well, I guess not, if you want to be technical, I guess it was more on his back hip than anything, but it didn't throw him off his route too much. He was able to get down to the 50-yard line and get them deeper into Tennessee territory. Then on 3rd down and 10, with 3 minutes left in the game, on the 15-yard line, or 12-yard line, rolls out to his right, throws a really strong ball to Cam Shanks in the end zone for the score, and Shanks does a great job as well because he stops his route pretty much. Green's rolling out to his right, and if Shanks keeps carrying his route to the sideline where Green is going, then he's going to run into the path of the defender. The defender's going to be standing in front of him, going to be intercepted or broken up or whatever. So he does a good job at stopping his route, and Green gives Green an option in the end zone for the score. And Green, again, nice job rolling out the pocket. He had back-to-back incompletions prior to throwing a Shanks in the end zone. So it was just a good play overall, and I'm glad to have Talon Green back in the top 10 because if we're talking about, like, I don't know what you want to call it. If we're talking about gifted quarterbacks, like if we're talking about what ceilings are high out of these quarterbacks, Talon Green's got a really high ceiling just given his athletic traits. I mean, he's 6'6", 230 pounds, 225, 230 pounds, has a really solid arm, still needs to develop more as a passer. Obviously, there's still some growing pains in there, but as an athlete, he's one of the best pure runners, again, in college football, the quarterback position. Now, I did see an article the other day saying that there's some people think he could play wide receiver. I'm not at that point. I always have a weird feeling when people try to move quarterbacks early, especially when they're putting up good numbers like this. Like, he's not just purely a runner. He is developing as a passer. He's a much better passer this year than he was last year. If we were talking about this last year, then yeah, if he went pro last year, then I would say, yeah, there probably is a decent chance that he could just transition to a wide receiver because he's got the good size, he's got the athletic ability and all that stuff. But this year, we've seen that growth as a passer. So I'm not going to sit here right now and go, oh, yes, he needs to move to wide receiver at the next level. But number 9, we have Darian Mensah. They had a bye this week, Duke did, but they played Georgia Tech this weekend at home. Had a good game last week against Cal's. Had a very solid season, 15 touchdowns, 2 picks to his name on the year, for 1,800 yards passing as well. He comes in at number 9. Number 8, Jaden Maiava from USC. Against Michigan this past weekend, 25 for 32, 265, 2 touchdowns, 1 pick. The interception was bad. It was a bad interception. He tried to make something happen. It's 3rd down and 12. and he rolls out to his right, get chased by 2 Michigan defenders, technically 3, I guess, and just like soft tosses it down the sideline. And the Michigan defender makes a diving catch to come up with this interception. It was a bad play. And it's funny on the clip is that you could see Maeva on the sideline with his head. He had the surrender cobra up and everything. And USC, realistically, should have won this game by more. But they had a couple mishaps in the red zone. We talked about the interception there. But Jaden Maeva, I thought, played a really solid game overall. And he's had a very solid year. I mean, 1,800 yards, 13 touchdowns, 2 picks. Also has 4 rushing touchdowns. He might not have the most insane rushing numbers out there. He only has 50 yards rushing on the year. He had negative 70 yards rushing in this game, which I always hate that college football counts sacks as rushing yards. I find that very annoying. I don't know why, if it's just me or if everybody feels that way. But regardless, I think it's a very weird thing to include for a quarterback's numbers. But I know there's some people out there as well that view sacks as a quarterback statistic, so maybe they're perfectly fine with it. I don't know. I think sacks are sometimes they can be very 50-50. Sometimes it's on one specific person. Sometimes it's on a group. It's a group effort. So I don't like that it's just automatically marked down as whatever you want to call it. Sacks for rushing yards and all that stuff. But Maeva, again, 21-yard pass to Lions early on in the game. And what I like about this play is that guy comes across. Nobody's blocking him. Free rusher. And he just throws it on a line in a spot where only his receiver get it. There's 2 Michigan defenders in the area. 2 windows there. 2 guys creating a window, I guess you could call it. And he fits it in there for a nice 21-yard gain. And does a good job. Lions does a nice job seeing it through the hit as well. And then you got Mekhi Lemon, who some people, if you're looking at Jordan Tyson, Mekhi Lemon, Denzel Boston, you've got Carnell Tate from Ohio State. You've got there's some good receivers in college football this year, but Mekhi Lemon this year has made a lot of really good sideline catches. And later in the game, Maeva rolls out to his right, gets chased by a couple Michigan defenders, and puts it in a spot where only his receiver can make it. And Mekhi Lemon gets both feet in bounds, crouches down to make the catch. Very impressive play. Very impressive catch. Very impressive play overall from both quarterback and wide receiver. But great job by Lemon at getting both feet in bounds. I know it's college football. You only need one. But still, you love seeing that. And he would launch it up to Mekhi. He would toss it up to Mekhi Lemon later in the drive as well. 12-yard passing touchdown to him. Sometimes when you got a receiver like that, you just need to let him make a play. Back shoulder throw, Michigan defender all over him. Lemon skies up to make the catch. Like, just very, very good catch. Very good throw and catch, trusting your receiver, and all that stuff. You also see Maeva hit, what is it? I'm complete. Wow. Lake McRae, sorry. Down the middle, down the hash marks. McRae gets hit right as he catches the ball. It was really a bang-bang play. Gets brought down. Michigan defender rips the ball out, but they rule it a catch, so it's all good. It's all good. But overall, I thought Maeva was very consistent, or very efficient in this game. Yes, the interception was brutal. Bad interception. USC's run game was very good in this game. They had a couple big totals in regards to singular carries in this game. But 25 of 32, 265, 2 touchdowns and a pick. I would say it was a pretty good outing against Michigan. And if you remember last week, who number 8 was, then I feel like we have to talk about this, because I think you would notice, because he obviously wouldn't be raised up at all. Drew Aller was dropped out. And it wasn't just because he had the injury. It wasn't just because of the injury. But that's a big reason why. And it just sucks at this point. And this is me kind of falling on my sword, I guess you could say, where I bought into the Drew Aller hype. I did. I was somebody that looked at the traits and looked at what he did against Oregon and went, okay, I see he can be something here. And some of the throws he made against Boise State were like, okay, he can be really special. This is a 3rd year as a starter in Penn State, the same system for 3 years. Like, it'd be stupid not to expect him to develop, especially when they made improvements in the receiving room, bringing in Trevor Pena from Syracuse. Yes, losing Tyler Warren was massive, but you brought both your running backs back. The offensive line was still good. You got the same offensive coordinator from last year. Like, I was expecting massive things from Drew Aller. And the main thing Penn State had going for them in regards to their national title hopes was that Drew Aller was in his 3rd year as a starter. And you have a 3rd-year starter in college football, which is very rare nowadays. In the same system, I mean, they got a new offensive coordinator the year before, but the same team for 3 years, you would kind of expect them to take that jump into this season and look at it like, oh, this is a team to be reckoned with. And losing to Oregon was its own thing. I mean, you lost that game in overtime. Double overtime, that's going to happen. Aller threw a bad pick at the end. Oregon's a good football team. That's going to happen. But the UCLA Northwestern games back-to-back is not, that was not on the bingo cards for this season. That was not something that anybody thought was going to happen. Like, I don't care how low you are on Drew Aller or how low you were on Penn State. And I got to a pretty low point after the Week 3 game against Villanova because they were beating teams by a big margin, but they weren't playing good. Drew Aller was not playing good. He played good against Nevada Week 1, but against FIU and Villanova, he did not play good whatsoever. So it kind of got sour going into that game, but you saw some good plays from Aller at the end of the game against Oregon, minus the interception. You saw some good plays from Aller at the end of the game against UCLA. He was not the reason they lost the game against UCLA. UCLA putting up 42 points, that'll kind of do it for you. Or how many points they put up. I can't remember the exact number for you. But to lose to Northwestern, that at home, no less. Like, James Franklin getting fired did not surprise me at all. Given the state of where Penn State is right now, like losing to UCLA, who had not led a single second up to that point in the season. They had not led a single second up to that point. And they beat Penn State in the Rose Bowl in front of seemingly, I know there's more fans in that game than normal, but they rarely ever have any home support. And then you go back home and lose to Northwestern. That's just not great. And Aller's out for the season with an ankle injury. I just saw he had successful surgery, so good job from the doctors on that. And Aller, when it's all said and done in the draft process, could be a decently higher draft pick than what his play this year suggests it. Because going from his first year as a starter to last year, there was vast improvement. And this year, we're going back down. Where we were, because he's not going to play the rest of the year, but we were starting to go back down. There was no upward trajectory. And in games like Nevada, Florida International, and Villanova, I'm not saying you need to throw for 800 yards or anything. Penn State doesn't have an offense for that. But I need you to hit passes with consistency, and that's just what he wasn't doing. Like, he had a great throw to Trevor Pena against Penn State, or against Villanova, sorry. But those great throws, when they happen, are awesome. But then there's some, like, 5 or 6 other throws prior to that make you go, what the hell was that? You're too damn talented to be making that throw. And maybe it's Penn State's offense. Maybe it was James Franklin that was holding Drew Aller back. Maybe he's a guy that, and this happens, where he gets better in the NFL than he ever was in college. That could happen. I'm not saying it will, but to go from a guy who was talked about as being the 2nd overall pick to the Cleveland Browns this past year to now going, where the hell is he going? He's not going in the first 3 rounds at this point in time. Like, where the hell is he going to end up? Like, there's always that risk of going back to school. And I'm sure Cleveland Browns fans out there are thankful that he went back to school. And maybe they take one of the top options this year. But Aller going from that high to the lows of this year is just not what I was expecting. I was cautiously optimistic in regards to, he might not beat QB1 going into the draft, but I never thought we'd get to the point of QB8 to eventually being out of the top 10 altogether. Now, the injury does help with that, but even then, I would have considered taking him out of the top 10 altogether had he not gotten hurt in this game, whether or not he got hurt in this game. That's what's kind of crazy about it. But yeah, he's not in the top 10. And now we got to number 8. That's where he was last week, so I just thought I'd mention it because he obviously wasn't getting up anywhere. But number 7 is Carson Beck. Did not play this past week. It was a weird schedule for Miami. They had a bye, Florida State, then a bye. And now they're back against Louisville. And that game last year against Louisville with Tyler Shuck and Cam Ward was awesome. I don't see that being the case this year because Miller Moss, I've never been the biggest fan of Miller Moss. And I don't think he's been playing that great this year. So I don't think we're going to get a game like that. I do expect Miami to have their way with Louisville. I shouldn't sound that disrespectful because I do think the Brahms are very good coaches. But I don't see Miami struggling in this one. After what they did to Florida State, again, I know it was a 6-point game in the end. What they did to Florida State, I don't really worry about Miami for the rest of the year, really. They might lose some random-ass game at the end of the year, but right now, you can make a very strong case they're the best team in the nation. Ohio State's defense is very damn good, but Miami's got some good players on that defense side as well, and Carson Beck's playing at a Heisman Trophy level at this point in time. Number 6, speaking of Heisman Trophy, John Mateer. First game back since the fractured hand. Back sooner than what was initially reported. They were like, oh, this could be a 4 or 5 week injury. He's back in 2. Had the bye week the week after the Auburn game. Then they had Kent State, and now he's back. Which obviously he wasn't going to play against Kent State. You might as well have just rested him regardless if he was hurt or not. But this game against Texas, hindsight's a beautiful thing because I'm sure there's some people out there like, man, I really wish he did not play in this game given how him and Oklahoma in general looked. I mean, 23-6 against Texas. Mateer, 202 yards passing, 0 touchdowns, 3 picks. So that means with those 3 interceptions, he now has 6 touchdowns, 6 interceptions up to this point in the year. That's crazy. And in this one, the picks he was throwing, the last one, you could maybe go, yes, the throw was behind, but the receiver got both hands on it, so maybe he should come up with it, and it landed in the arms of the defender. Maybe if you really wanted to be nice, you could give him a pass on that one. If you wanted to be. I'm not saying I'm being nice with it, but if you wanted to be, then that can work for you. Then you can do that. But the first 2, they're just bad throws. Simple as that. They're just bad throws. And John Mateer is somebody that wants to make a play every single time he touches the football. We said that going into the year. We've said that every single week that he's been playing up to this point in the season. He wants to make plays every single time. The problem with that is there's a time and place for that. Like you look at the one before halftime that he threw. There's 10 seconds left in the half when he snaps the ball. They have the ball at the 30.5-yard line. You can get a field goal here. You don't need to throw a touchdown. You don't need to throw it towards the end zone. Obviously, with him being the way that he is, he wants to score and make something happen every single time. But up 6-3, rolling out to your right, just take the dump off or throw it out of bounds. There were Texas defenders in his face when he let the ball go, but not enough to where it should have been as bad of a throw as it was. And he tried to look off the safety to the near sideline, but he threw it back to a slot receiver and threw it behind him, and it was just an easy catch for the Texas interception. Like both interceptions, the first 2 interceptions that he threw were some of the easiest interceptions Texas corners will have this year, or Texas secondary pieces will have this year. They were just bad throws. It wasn't even like he was looking where he was going. It's like he's just heaving it. Like he's just chucking it downfield. I know for the first one, but I don't really think that he's looking where he was throwing it on each of the interceptions. At least the first one, he was turning away when he threw the ball and threw it behind. Threw it more outside than what he would have probably liked. Like, they're just bad plays. They're bad throws. They're bad decisions from him. And he's made some good throws throughout the game. Like Satanga, he hit him at 9 yards right before the pick on 3rd down. Gets it to Satanga for the first down. Great throw. 3 Texas defenders in the area, fires in there. Like, he's got a very good arm, very strong arm. Hits a 13-yard pass to Kent with the defender in his face. Floats it over the top of the defender initially and gets it into Kent between 2 Texas defenders. Like, he has those types of throws, but the interceptions, like, I'll tell you this. I've said this before. I'm not the biggest, like, scrutinizer of, oh my God, you have however many interceptions. If you have enough touchdowns to where you can justify that. Like Baker Mayfield last year in the NFL, just an example. Oklahoma guy, so it makes sense. 41 touchdowns, 16 picks. I don't care if he threw 16 picks because he threw 41 touchdowns. If he threw 21 touchdowns and 16 picks, that's a little bit of a different story. That's a little different. Like 6 interceptions, I can stomach that. But to only have 6 touchdowns at this point, that makes it a little bit harder for me to stomach. And I just need him to, I know it's not going to happen because he did this last year too. He needs to rein it back a little bit. And he's not going to. And I don't hate him for doing that because that's who he is. That's the type of football player he is, and I respect that. But you're getting a little too aggressive to a point of you're losing the game now, or you're taking away points from your offense because you're being too aggressive. Like Texas again, Oklahoma again. And in the grand scheme of things, it didn't matter. They didn't lose the game 10-9. Like, it didn't matter at the end of the game. They lost the game 23-6. So a field goal at the end of the first half wouldn't have mattered as much. But I feel like for morale and confidence going into the second half, that was a that was like, oh shit, this is a big momentum booster. Because Texas was losing. Texas scored 20 points unanswered, or not unanswered, 20 points unanswered in the second half. They had a punt return touchdown in there as well. Had another pick of Mateer. So I'm not saying that was the long and short of the game, but it definitely caused some changes in regards to confidence in the second half. And they struggled. And this week they play South Carolina. At South Carolina, which is not a very easy place to play. So we'll have to wait and see how Mateer does in that one. But number 5, speaking of a guy who just played South Carolina, Garrett Nussmeier. This game against South Carolina, 254, 2 touchdowns, 2 picks. In a 20-10 win, their second 20-10 win of the season, which is kind of funny that they have 2 20-10 wins, one against Florida, one against now South Carolina. And yeah, the 2 interceptions in this game for Nussmeier. It's a common thing with Nussmeier throwing interception, but like I talked about before, if he's throwing touchdowns, then I can take it. I can take it. Like last year, he had like 28 touchdowns, 13 picks. Like I can take that. I can stomach that. But right now he has what? 11-5, I think, at this point? 9-5. So it's a little bit, again, a little bit harder to stomach than it normally would. First interception, ball sailed on him. 3rd and 12, trying to get it to his receiver. Ball just sailed on him. Rolls, shuffles in the pocket, tries to get his receiver, just sails on him. That's it. I think it's intercepted later in the game, and this one he just got baited into it. Absolutely got baited into it. And sometimes it happens. You just get beat. Defense does something nice there. Linebacker crashed. So when you're doing an RPO and you got a slant over top, most of the time you're reading the linebacker who's crashing. And if a linebacker crashes, that means you got a window to hit because the guys would, if he didn't crash, he'd be standing directly in the window that you'd be trying to throw to. Linebacker crashes. So Nussmeier pulls it. The problem is there's a high safety there. And he does not see him at all. And the safety does not move until Nussmeier starts to throw the ball. He basically has his feet stapled to the end zone and then pounces when Nussmeier throws it and jumps the route. Like, if we're talking about, like, if it was an inaccurate throw, it could have probably gotten broken up by the defender in behind. But he just read the wrong thing. And that happens. You just got beat into it. And it sucks because it was at the 9-yard line where he got picked. Or he got picked throwing from the 9-yard line. He got picked in the end zone. That's unfortunate. But it just got beat. Normally, again, you read the linebacker. But in that situation, you got to read the safety. And the safety did not move an inch. And it wound up being an interception. Now, Nussmeier and Talon Green, they had a really crazy thing going in this game. Those two were in sync the entire time. And Talon Green, former basketball player, one of Nussmeier's touchdown, 6-yard passing touchdown, just tossed it up to him back shoulder. You have a 6'7" tight end who's a former D1 basketball player. Yeah, you just got to sometimes just let him go up and get it. Sometimes you just got to let him go up and get it. And it was a very fun connection. Like, the first 3 clips that I have on the blog post are all Nussmeier to Talon Green. And he had a very nice throw down the sideline to Kane Durham, who made a very nice catch all on the sideline. Rolling out to his right, fires it down the sideline. Durham, with 2 South Carolina defenders around him, is able to see the ball in and make a nice toe-tapping catch all on the sideline. And Nussmeier to Talon Green, back shoulder. 6'1" defender on him, throw it up, make him go make a play. And he did just that. So I thought Nussmeier, the picks weren't great. The second one, again, unfortunate. Just read the wrong thing. Or got baited into it regardless. Because again, more often than not, you're told to read the linebacker. Linebacker crashed, pulled it, threw it, got picked. That happens. But in the end, the red zone's a different territory than you are in the middle portion of the game, or middle portion of the field. Just got to be more aware of that. But he comes in at number 5. Number 4, I have Lenore Sellers. Lenore Sellers in this game, 15-27, 124, no touchdowns, 1 pick. And though his numbers aren't great, you can clearly see development from Sellers in the passing game. And the best example I have of that was on 2nd and 5. It's in the third quarter, start of the third quarter. They're running a bubble screen to the near sideline. They're running a bubble screen. There is the nickelback on this player, the safety, crashes down instantly, right as the ball is snapped. Last year, Sellers was throwing that pass, probably getting intercepted. This time, though, he sees the guy crashing down. And if the guy picks it off, it's a guaranteed touchdown the other way. He does not throw it, looks around for a second, and then tucks it and runs upfield. Gets a 5-yard or 6-yard gain on 2nd and 5. Like, the highlight that I have in here might not look like, oh my God, it's a 6-yard run. But it's more about the knowing that defender's jumping the route. If I throw this ball, that's going to get intercepted. Those are the types of things that I want to see from Lenoris Sellers. Because that's the big question, is his development as an overall passer. We know how great of an athlete he is. He's the hardest quarterback to bring down in the backfield. He does take some ridiculously bad sacks still. But more often than not, he's able to get out of it and to make a play that not a lot of other quarterbacks could even dream of making. Like, he had a 6-yard run on 2nd and 7 where he should have been dead to rights, or was dead to rights, in the backfield. He had one earlier in the game as well. But his interception, it was just not a great throw. It wasn't. He short-armed it. That's pretty much it. 2 defenders over top, or one in coverage, one coming over top, one coming over top, comes in, makes a play on the ball. You just can't make that throw. It's just a bad throw. It's 3rd and 15. I understand he's trying to make up some yards, gain it all back on that play. But it just wasn't a good throw. It was a bad throw, and yeah. But overall, again, I'm not looking for Sellers to light up the stat sheet. That's not what we're doing. It's because right now, if you're comparing the likes of Sellers to the people who are ahead of him in regards to like weapons, it's not even close. Nick Harbor, very good receiver. But apart from that, the O-line's terrible. It's basically Lenoris Sellers doing everything he can to try and get something forward for South Carolina. And there are a few drops in this game. So the 15 for 27 is a little misleading, but the pick wasn't great out of him. But there, again, we're looking for development overall as a passer. So some of these clips that I have are only like 5 to 9 yard plays. There's one 17-yard pass play in there to Harbor, ironically, but most of them are very short plays. But those are the plays that I want to see from him to continue developing. And the top 3. This is a very interesting top 3 because if you told me at the beginning of the season this would be what the top 3 is, I would have called you crazy. But number 3, I have Dante Moore from Oregon. 21-34, 186, 1 touchdown, 2 picks against Indiana. I did not think Indiana was going to win this game. And it had nothing to do with how good or bad Indiana is. I just thought Oregon was better. I thought Oregon had more talent. And I thought Oregon, being at home, I thought would be able to handle business. And they didn't. Indiana won the game by 10 points. And Dante Moore threw a couple picks, back-to-back drives at the end of the game. First one, drops back, fake it, ball gets tipped. Ball gets tipped, lands right in the arms of the defender. Second one, drops back, late throw, defender jumps route, gets picked. Back-to-back drives. 2 minutes to go in the game. Basically, it wrapped up the game for Indiana, which, if you throw 2 picks in the last 3 minutes of a game, yeah, it's gonna hurt your chance of winning a game. So Dante Moore did not play his greatest game of all time. But, there are plays that Dante Moore, like to DeGorian Moore, late in the second quarter. Drops back to pass, defender right in his face. DeGorian Moore hasn't even come out of his break yet. Hasn't even started his break. And he throws it to him. DeGorian Moore turns around, ball's right there. And he's able to pick up an 18-yard gain on 1st and 10 with a minute 40 left in the first half. Like, those type of anticipatory throws are what we love to see from Dante Moore. There was another time the running back went the wrong way in the RPO, and in a perfect world, he's probably handing the ball off because linebacker didn't crash, and he just fires it in to DeGorian Moore again for a 14-yard gain. Like, Dante Moore did not have his greatest game of all time. His touchdown was pretty nice, too. Nice, easy touchdown to Benson, wide open. Didn't miss him. That's the main thing. Didn't miss him. But there's still good things from Dante Moore in this game. Again, Indiana's got a very good pass rush. They got a very good defense in general. They have a top 5 defense nationally. They're very good. So they're throwing different looks at Dante Moore. And sometimes in this game, you could kind of tell that, you can tell this is your first year fully as a starter. You can kind of tell. And you can tell the same thing with the Oregon receivers as well. You can kind of tell they're still really young. But Moore, again, like the throw to DeGorian Moore that we talked about. The 2 throws to DeGorian Moore that we talked about. Like, those kind of throws are throws where you look at and go, okay, he's got it. The 2 picks are unfortunate. The second one was more on him. The first one got batted, landed in the arms of the defender. Unfortunate. That happens. Was it a good game? No. Did it help his Heisman case? No. Am I out on Dante Moore completely? Definitely not. Definitely not. Did he get outplayed? Depending on how you want to look at it. I don't know if you could really say either quarterback played that great in this game. And the second, number 2, obviously, is Fernando Mendoza. So Fernando Mendoza comes away with the win in this one for Indiana. 20 of 31, 215, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. 31 yards on the ground. Pick was bad. It was a bad throw. Ended up being a pick 6. It was in the fourth quarter as well. Like, he's shuffling to his left, throws it off his back foot. Ball kind of sails, not sails on him, but it doesn't have enough velocity on it. Defender makes an easy interception. The receiver was running a crossing route. They were trying to do one of those things where they said everybody to the right, the receiver's going to be open to the left, but the defender stayed right on a bad throw, ended up being a pick 6. Then he got an 8-yard touchdown to Elijah Surratt. Great back shoulder throw. Again, Fernando Mendoza, this is an Indiana thing. Because we said the same thing with Michael Penix, said the same thing with Curtis Rourke, saying the same thing with Fernando Mendoza. These guys are the best back shoulder throwers in college football. And obviously Michael Penix did that more at Washington than he did at Indiana, but still, it's an Indiana thing. It's an Indiana thing. Then you look at it in the second quarter. Fernando Mendoza to the outside, to the numbers. Elijah Surratt, 16-yard gain. Like, Fernando Mendoza, great in the RPO and great when throwing the ball outside the numbers. He is the best thrower in college football, throwing outside the numbers. He's the best, by far. It's not even really a competition. But he's got a really quick release. The ball explodes out of his hand. He's got good size, and he's got good mobility. I heard someone calling it Daniel Jones ability, like athletic ability. That's not a bad thing. If you're going to get compared to athletic ability, there's a lot worse quarterbacks you could get compared to Daniel Jones. And I know that might be looked down upon because it's Daniel Jones, but Daniel Jones has always been a good athlete. Just the other parts that we kind of worried about. But he's got that kind of athleticism in there. But the ball, again, pops out of his hand. And I'm intrigued to see how it develops to the next level because of the RPOs being such a big factor in Indiana's offense. And he works perfectly for that. Just getting the ball out quick on the slants. They run a lot of slants. They didn't run them as much in this game. But the pick wasn't great. But overall, I thought the touchdown to Elijah Surratt was very good. He had a couple other good throws to Elijah Surratt in there as well. I don't think either quarterback in this game played that amazing. I don't think you could look at this game and go like, oh my God, I really came away with loving Fernando Mendoza, really loving Dante Moore. I don't think either one of them played that great. But the only thing that matters at the end of the day, 30-20 win for Indiana and Mendoza. Mendoza, not Mendoza. But number 1, like I alluded to before, if you had told me this list looked like this after week 1, I would have called you crazy because number 1 on this list is Ty Simpson. That's who number 1 is. Did anybody see that coming prior to the year starting? Did anybody see that? No, not at all. After they lost to Florida State, week 1, there was not a chance in hell I was thinking Ty Simpson was going to be the number 1 quarterback at any point in the season, and yet here we are. And the more and more I've watched Ty Simpson, the more and more I'm seeing him as he might be my favorite quarterback in the class. I think him and Lenore Sellers are my 2 favorite quarterbacks in this draft class right now. They are awesome. Like, for different reasons. Ty Simpson, though, he has, I believe, 6 starts to his name. 6 or 7 starts. No joke intended there. And he's playing like he's been a 3-year starter at Alabama. He is playing with an insane level of confidence that we haven't really seen from any other quarterback in this year's draft class. Like, Ty Simpson will challenge you. Ty Simpson is not afraid to make any throw on the football field. And what I love about Ty Simpson the most, and I brought this up the past 2 weeks, like I said, fearless, he is not afraid to throw it down the middle of the field. And if you're going to be a quarterback at the next level, you got to throw it down the middle of the field. And Ty Simpson does that better than anybody else in this draft class. His feet are really good. He maneuvers pockets very, very well. He does not get fazed by defenders coming in on him. Like, he does not get fazed on that. He will zip the ball in there. He's not like the most athletically gifted guy of all time. Like, I'm not saying you're going like Jane Daniels, Lamar Jackson or anything like that, but he can make plays with his legs. Like, he can make so many plays with his legs, and he's such a smart thrower of the football. We said this before the year started. He fits exactly what Kalen DeBoer and Ryan Grubb want to do on the outside of the ball. Throw the football. with confidence. Like he had a 16-yard touchdown pass to Isaiah Horton, zipped it in there, looked off held the safety to the far side, to the near sideline, looked him off to there, held him over there, threw it back to Isaiah Horton, who was in the middle of the field, in the gap between the two safeties. And he did have a 20-yard rush. He had a 20-yard run in this game, too. But he stands in the pocket. He delivers the ball down on 4th and 8 in the fourth quarter, up by 3. He slides to his left and delivers an absolute dot to Lotzier Brooks. It might be it might be the best throw of the season, if I'm being honest. 4th and 8, 4:55 left in the game. Slides to his left, fires it to Lotzier Brooks for a 29-yard gain. Like, Ty Simpson is playing with an insane level of confidence that you just don't really see from a guy who has had as little starts as he has. There's no reason he should be playing as good as what he is. And yet he is. Against ranked opponents as well. He did this against Georgia 2 weeks ago. He did it against Missouri last week and on the road. 2 games on the road. Did it against Vanderbilt last week. And then now they're back at home this week against Tennessee. So that's now 4 straight top 25 opponents. And Ty Simpson has looked great against Georgia, Vanderbilt, and Missouri. And Tennessee, out of all those teams, has the worst defense out of all of them. So I'm expecting Ty Simpson to play really well again. And if you had to give out a Heisman Trophy right now, I would give it to Ty Simpson. Like, the numbers are there. 1,600 yards, 16 touchdowns, 1 interception to his name, which obviously came last week. But Ty Simpson, man, I implore you to watch. And it's so funny because his name, Ty Simpson, you don't really look like, oh, that's an elite level quarterback right there. You don't really think that. But he is. Ty Simpson is that dude, I promise you. Absolutely promise you. If you don't believe me, go and watch him. Go and look at the blog post. Go look at the video. Go wherever. I don't care. Just go and watch Ty Simpson play. His ability to maneuver the pocket, his fearlessness when throwing the ball down the field is second to really no one in this draft class. And I know people will probably get a little scared that he only has a certain amount of starts under his belt. And that's fine. And he can come back. So can Mendoza, so can Dante Moore, so can Lenore Sellers. Like, all those guys can come back. So there is a chance that they come back. But if he were to go right now, he would be the first overall pick in the draft in my mind. As things stand right now, I would take him first over. I'm the New York Jets. I would draft Ty Simpson right now. That's where it stands. And maybe you don't agree, but that's how I would look at it right now. And as for the top 10, again, an honorable mention section again, we're going to recap that here. We got Luke Altmaier from Illinois as one of the honorable mention sections. We have Trinidad Chambliss from Ole Miss. We have Josh Hoover, Nico Iamaleava, and Cade Klubnik. Number 10, Talon Green in Arkansas. They take on number 4, Texas A&M at home this weekend. We got Darian Mensah, number 9, going with him and Duke playing Georgia Tech at home this weekend is number 12. Number 8, Jade Mayava and USC traveling to South Bend to take on 13th ranked Notre Dame. That'll be a really fun one. USC now back in the top 25. Carson Beck in Miami, they take on Louisville this weekend. Carson Beck at 7. We have John Mateer coming in number 6. Him and Oklahoma play at South Carolina this weekend. Number 5, Garrett Nussmeier. Him and the LSU Tigers take on Vanderbilt on the road. The first time Vanderbilt's been favored in a game in SEC play, I think in 40 years, what I saw. I couldn't get the number wrong, but it's been a long-ass time. Then number 4, we have Lenore Sellers. Him and the Gamecocks will be again taking on 14th ranked Oklahoma at home. Number 3, Dante Moore. Him and the Ducks will be traveling out east to take on Rutgers. Then we have Indiana. Fernando Mendoza coming in at number 2. Indiana taking on Michigan State. Number 1, Ty Simpson. And the Alabama Crimson Tide taking on number 11, Tennessee. If they keep playing like that, if Alabama and Ty Simpson play like that, they can really win a national championship. And Ty Simpson can win the Heisman. That's all I'll say right now. But that's all I've got for you today on these Week 7 quarterback prospering rankings. Hope you enjoyed. Make sure to give the video a like. Make sure to comment down below why you feel the way you do. Check out all the links in the description below. Check out the blog post down there, and I will see you guys later. Peace.